Welcome to the basics of Kundalini Yoga. So I want to welcome you if you're new to this practice. I'm really excited that you're here. I have been practicing Kundalini Yoga for over 20 years now, and it has been one of the most profound experiences for me in my personal growth and development. The reason I love to teach this practice is because I really believe that we are meant to be so much greater than we express in our lives and the collective experience of the human experience. And Kundalini Yoga is an inner alchemy practice. It is really a consciousness-based practice that is here to support you as a human being. Unlike other practices, the emphasis is really you as you open your consciousness, as you deepen your awareness, and as you learn to self-regulate. And for me in particular, teaching this and supporting and sharing this with you has to do everything with the fact that I deeply believe that we are intended to live from the highest possibility, which is related to our heart. And Kundalini Yoga and the teachings around Kundalini Yoga I have found to be profoundly important in opening ourselves to our heart consciousness and our heart-centered experience. And this beingness from the heart is really, it requires and it invites us to cultivate a different way of being in the world. Because all the things that we've been taught were from an older consciousness that we're just walking and we're stepping away from. And this shift from the lower energy, from the lower consciousness of us as a human being in relation to the world, stepping into the heart as a place of being an and in the world and being in relation to ourselves, to each other, to the collective, as well as being in the orientation of power with, is a very new experience in our human experience. And it is completely opposite of what we were taught. And so we cannot become that potential that we are and we feel and we sense without really unfolding into that potential. And I find that Kundalini Yoga is a real key for my own development and personal growth in that capacity as a human being centered at the heart, opening to this new earth, which is really unfolding into a new humanity centered at the heart. So with all of that said, this to me is a tool of consciousness and is a tool for cultivating the highest possibility of your experience as a human being. And it is in that spirit that I share this with you. The Kriya technology is a deep science of energetics as well as vibration as well as consciousness. Kriya is translated as a complete action. So for me, I have experienced that a Kriya, I call it a complete conversation or a complete breath. Kriya is a series and a sequence of poses, breath, meditation that all put together create a complete action in the mind, body, spirit, emotions, soul field. And that's why you want to follow the Kriya as it's written, because it's moving energy in a very specific manner through the body system to activate and engage this profound, deep, and transformative energy in your body system. And when you do your Kriya, you first enter the Kriya very heady, right? Because you're trying to figure it out. You're trying to get familiar with the poses. You have to keep track of time. It's all very, very heady when you first come into the practice. And that's part of the reason why I like to just share a Kriya and practice the Kriya together for a month. Because that gives you the opportunity to really begin to know the Kriya and really deepen into your own awareness so that you can release from the mind and come into the body experience. The embodied experience of the Kriya is the most important practice. I have deeply learned everything that I know, in addition to having received it from teachers around me. It's about me and my personal practice and my personal experience. And so what I have found is that there are a couple of key factors that I want to share with you and that I usually share as you hear me talk about and move through the Kriyas. So the first thing is rooting. Rooting is fundamental because to be truly our highest possibility and potential, we must be deeply rooted in the earth. If we are deeply grounded, we can expand. And that's what Kundalini Yoga teaches us with this concept of sacred alignment. So as I root, sitting into the sit bones allows me to lengthen. So actually, I can become more infinite by being finite, right? Having a finite experience of my pressure down into the sit bones creates a direct and opposite reaction that gives me my sense of expansiveness. Why do I say that? Because kinesthetically, in your body, in your embodied consciousness, when you sit into the sit bones, you keep your heart open. You can keep your head above your heart, above your hips, bringing the chin in and neck lock, okay? So that's the key concept of our basic posture. If it works for you to sit in easy pose, just sitting cross-legged, that's great. It's really easy to slump back, okay? And that is not necessarily inviting you to be actively engaged in your posture. So you are being invited to be fully present in your practice, and that awakens your awareness and it awakens your heart. Watch what happens to my heart when I sink back. I collapse into it. I close myself to my heart and my access to my knowing. So when I sit into the sit bones, it actually takes a lot of energy in my navel. I have to have a strong core energy. So what I want to invite you to do is explore where your perfect seated position is. And what you can do is you can just roll a blanket, maybe put a pillow and tuck it underneath. Just want to show you. So you're going to just tuck it at the edge of your pelvis. And what that does is it automatically lifts your pelvis so that you don't have to work so hard at staying lifted. It helps reduce the tendency to collapse because you're actually placing it right under where the sit bones kind of press in. So just play around with the placement of a blanket, a pillow, a folded. I have a lot of times people just feel really uncomfortable adding features to their posture. I just really want to say to you, make this the priority, because when you master sitting in this pose, you master accessing the best of you. So give yourself permission to figure out what that perfect seated position is for you. As you develop the strength in the navel, you will be able to more easily do this without props or without assistance. And that's what you ultimately want. However, give yourself permission to unfold into that. That is what it is to become our best self, right? It's to be able to invite ourselves, to support ourselves to the growth and development that we see as possible. So that is a really important piece that I want to give you in this first video, sitting into the sit bones. And I want to give you an exercise to do that so that you can consciously become aware of what that means for you. So as you sit, I want to give you an opportunity to explore getting off the sit bones and see how that feels. And then come back into what you feel are the sit bones and sit into the sit bones, sit into the earth. Notice what happens when you do that. And now drop off the sit bones coming forward. And then come back to the sit bones. So you can practice this to develop that inner awareness of your sit bones. Now, the next piece that's really important in the basics of Kundalini Yoga is neck lock, Jalandhar Bhand. So the key to neck lock is that many of us have a tendency to walk in the world with our chin lifted. I know I have that tendency, and my practice has developed a different somatic experience in my embodied experience and expression. So I can now be more in neck lock, or more, you don't have to walk in neck lock in the world, but mostly it's like what you'll notice is, like, I just want to give you the experience. Lift your chin up. See how it feels in your neck. See how it feels in your shoulders. See what happens in your lower body and in your heart. Just explore what's happening for you in your experience. And now what I want to do is I want to invite you to bring your chin in, tuck it in. The metaphor is usually like a soldier in attention. However, I don't like to support the vibration of war. So I just like to invite you to just kind of like bring your, there's like a slight lift that you'll notice in your neck. And that allows your head to be sitting into the sit bones, to be the head above the heart, above the hips, so that you are in this alignment. And that allows the energy to move up and through the spine. You have very intelligent and powerfully healing energy that moves through the cerebrospinal fluid, and energetically, as well as the Kundalini energy. This is all really important energy that is really meant to flow and clear all of the obstacles that are within you. So that is another possibility, is to drop your chin and see how it feels. Again, one of the things I notice is that when I drop my chin, I automatically want to slump back. I want to close in and collapse into myself. Remember that the head is the heaviest part of your body. So if your head is not aligned, something is suffering, right? Because it's trying to carry a weight that was designed to be held above your heart and hips. And if you're either forward, or you're up, or you're down, that is generating an experience that is kind of interfering with carrying this big heavy weight in your body. So those are a couple of starting points that I feel are super important for you to practice and get to know about your body and your body tendencies. And then the last one are the shoulders. It's very easy to do movements and postures where you get super tight in the shoulders, and that's natural when you're first starting because you're concentrating on 100 things. Yet I really want to invite you to just relax those shoulders and let yourself just rest in the awareness. So from all of these tips, your basic posture, inviting you to come into Gyan Mudra, index and thumb tips together, resting wrists on the knees with the palms generally facing up. So one thing I see very common is that, again, slumpy, right? You want to be actively engaged because that's what's bringing your present awareness, and it's giving you the opportunity to be fully present to your experience. So really inviting you to come into this more active place where your fingers are active, your mudra is active, your elbows are as straight as comfortably possible. Your eyes are going to be closed, gently rolled up, focused inward at the brow point. The point between the eyebrows is the sixth chakra. It is known as the third eye. It is the seat of your intuition, and Kundalini Yoga is a yoga of awareness. I like to think of it, and in my own experience, you are developing your inner awareness to self-regulate. There's so much information out there, and in the Aquarian age, information overload is very common. And yet, what we're really here to do is refine our inner wisdom to use the external world as information, processing it from our inner wisdom. Rather than orienting from the outside in, we are developing the capacity to orient ourselves from the inside out. That is the key of this practice. You are literally pretty much, unless otherwise stated, doing your practice with your eyes closed, gently rolled up, focused inward at the brow point. And one final basics piece is that you are breathing through the nose unless otherwise mentioned in the Kriya. Your nose is connected to your lungs. Your mouth is generally doing things that are working with your stomach to be able to detox. So your normal breath is through the nose, inhale and exhale. And you are breathing with a sound current so that you can focus your mind on this elevating sound current that then supports you to be fully present to your experience and put your mind to good use. Because a lot of times we use our mind in ways that are very negative thinking about ourselves. So our basic mantra in Kundalini Yoga, 2 words, Sat, S-A-T, sounds like butt, Nam, N as in Nancy, A-M as in Mary. Again, the mantra is written below. Nam, so Sat, Nam, Sat, Nam, Sat, Nam. Every time you inhale, mentally vibrating Sat, truth. On the exhale, vibrating Nam, name. So it's like true identity. So you're affirming your truth of who you are. We have a lot of stories about who we are, and those stories generally don't tend to be very positive and supportive. However, there's a deeper truth about who we are and who we can be. Like, this is the potential, the seed of potential that exists within us, just like the acorn knows that it's meant to be an oak tree. So does Satnam know how you are here to be and who you are here at your fullest potential and capacity. So Satnam elevates you. It reminds and activates this capacity that is already there for you to embody more of. So you are not here to correct or improve, because everything in you is already perfect. You have all the resources, skills, knowledge, and wisdom within you. And what you are here to do is really law of subtraction. Your practice is what allows you to do that. It's like the sculptor who is working with a piece of wood or a piece of marble. You're chopping away and getting rid of all that interferes with your highest possibility. And allowing yourself to unfold and become is the practice. It takes more effort to do that because it's easier to think something is wrong and try to fix it, because that's our mindset and taught way of being. Yet in this practice, you are developing and cultivating a different way of being that knows that you are complete and is expanding into that completeness. So breath, inhaling and exhaling through the nose, following it with Sat on the inhale, Nam on the exhale, unless otherwise stated in the Kriya. Your posture is sitting and rooting, lengthening, keeping the heart open, neck lock, head above the heart, above the hips, eyes closed, gently rolled up, focused inward at the brow point, seated into your inner wisdom, Gyan Mudra. Gyan Mudra is a mudra of inner wisdom. Jupiter connects with your ego, sealing it to give you access to the great wisdom that is within you. And with that, I hope that this introduction has helped you know a little bit about how to cultivate your practice and develop and explore the potential that is in there for you. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a beautiful practice. Satnam.